Hello everybody, Skyward here, back again with another Diablo Immortal video. Now, it is of course approaching that time when we are soon to be getting Druid class, and already the speculation and leaks are running wild as they usually are. As much as I hate doing this myself personally, you know it's just the nature of the beast of the internet, to where we kind of have to chime in on such things of this and the speculations and so on and so forth. There has been a most recent Reddit post of which we are going to cover here in this one, and I am going to go over some of the skills and give my thoughts along the way of it, because these, if they are to be as what they are currently in these leaks, then you bet your you know what it's going to be. Yet another OP class on release, as it has been the case of the scenario of which they've done the past couple times now. That should be of no surprise to anybody, because they want to get that hype built up. They want other newer players to come in, which is fine, but it's always a short-sighted aspect, I do believe, on part of the developers themselves, that in the long run, they just kind of make things much more difficult to balance when you release a class that is OP in every single possible way. The big monkey wrench we saw the last time around, of course, was Tempest, and they had to make some quite a bit of tweaking along the way since, and it still kind of is what it is. And then they kind of had to tweak the other classes around that in certain various ways as well, to kind of keep things a little bit more, well, balance is not in their vocabulary. We all know this by now. It's unfortunate, but it never has been in both companies, which is why, again, like I said, I think they're kind of painting themselves into a corner yet again with this. But here we go, right? All right, so here is the leak and possible Resto Druid. We're getting Druids into Diablo Immortal, it seems, at the end of this. Those are a little further down the list here. So let's go ahead and get into it first, though. As you can see, these images here, this is translation is here. So let's start at this part and go along. Bear transformation. Okay, so there's a series of essences. Now, what happened last time? And in case people were wondering, I did switch to Tempest when it was released a year ago for like a week, and I got bored with it really, really fast, because to me, I seen how much of a broken, overpowered class it was at the time, and me personally, it's just not my interest. Never has been. That's why I stuck with it for a week. I unlocked all the essences at the time on release of the class, and max masteried it early. Now, how does one max mastery a class very, very quickly was the question asked before, and it's very simple in that the newer classes upon release have less starting essences overall than all the older classes, so it's far, far easier to get duplicates to drop and continue to pump into your mastery ranking up early. So that is a nice bonus, so to speak, for whenever you want to max mastery a newly released class. That's one of the great advantages. But anyway, let's keep going on here. Bear transformation now is a series of 4 strong attacks that knock down enemies. Remains in a state of absolute dominance during its use. Well, so what does that mean then? Are they untargetable? Immune? What's that? Remains in state of absolute dominance during this attack. And if so, does that mean basically to avoid this, you have to stay away and wait it out before you proceed to try to engage? All right. And can they move while they do this the entire time? Basically, the impression that I'm getting, starting out with this, is these are basically barbarians, except in bear form. Okay, or they're a hybrid between necro golems and barbs. This is what the bear formation of the druid skills so far that I've been able to surmise is what they're probably going to be doing. And the problem with that is you're hybriding two of the, you know, tankiest classes in the game right now and putting it into one. Can we see where this is going? Yeah. Anyway, bear transformation, next one here. These are all individual essences here. Improves your common attacks for a short period of time, inflicting more damage at a distance. So this one is very interesting. I'd like to see how this performs in action. Again, this is a wait and see. After several primary attacks, the next one will trap the enemy in front of you and smash them. Okay, so it has a immobilized lock. Bear trans as long as they get hit by the last primary attack in that barrage. Yeah. Okay, bear transformation again turns into a stone bear. So these are different varying essences, probably in the same slot. So you're gonna have to pick and choose how you want to go about, you know, making your druid, and what bear abilities you want, or what wolf abilities you want, or even what resto healing abilities you may want. So yeah, we're getting a healing class in the game, which is absolutely crazy. That's yeah, that's a whole nother monkey wrench that we are now getting thrown into the mix. Again, they're gonna have to, you know, figure a way to get out of the corner they paint themselves into with this to proceed from here on out, if these are as they stand. So take it for what you will. They have to walk in eggshells with this kind of stuff, and again, I don't think they have the foresight for this kind of what they introduce a lot of the times. It makes it much harder across the board in, you know, future updates and balancing for them in the process. But all right, transform into stone bear, which reduces its attack speed, but it makes it immune to knockbacks and loss of control. So the AI zombie barbs that are immune to control when they pop the button, and that's pretty much what you're going to get with the stone bear here. Get a shield for every amount of natural energy consumed. So natural energy consumed. So they're getting, oh boy, sounds like they're getting a, I don't want to say a mana bar or a mana orb for this, but it sounds like they're getting something a little extra. Same as with Tempest when it was introduced. Tempest is the only one with their clones. No other class got it. So Druid apparently looks like it's getting natural energy, and it might just be a mana orb of some kind or another bar on the screen. Okay, Crush, bear transformation. Now it generates a shockwave that deals damage and slows down nearby enemies, which can be used during other abilities. Okay, so that's a nice synergy effect there. The shockwave is probably going to be akin to the Barb Shout range, which was massive. Charge bear transformation. Now step on the ground, drag rocks around you, knocking down enemies and stunning them. Oh boy, an AoE stun. Okay. Crush bear transformation. Turn the bear's primary attacks into a slam against the ground, which deals damage to all nearby enemies. Okay, so another AoE like hammer smash kind of thing, except with a bear. Druid. When inflicting a critical hit, a rock spike appears on the sole of the target's foot. Oh, they didn't have to go into that much detail, but okay. A rock spike appears on the sole of the target's foot and inflicts damage again. Okay. Yeah. All right, so there's that one. Moving on down the list here. Dash. Bear transformation. Now stomp the ground. Barbarian stomp again. Raising rocks around you. Pretty much barbarian move. And knocking down enemies in the center and any enemy that comes into contact with the rock walls. Reskin barbarian abilities basically on this one. Okay. Dash. Now you jump towards a target. Barbarian again. Inflicting damage to all nearby enemies upon landing. After hitting an enemy, your main attack speed and critical hit speed increase. Okay. Yeah. Dash. Bear transformation. Lots of bear abilities here so far. Now it makes you continuously lunge forward, damaging and knocking down enemies in your path. So a charge. Yeah. Straight up charge right there. Here we go. Wolf transformation. Finally, right? Jump to a location, launch enemies into the air, and mark them with an increased critical hit chance and recover life. So a life leech when the target is marked. On a life leech on marked targets. I wonder if you can get multiple with it. And the jump to a location, launch enemies into the air. There is the wizard pants that is in the meta right now. So you get this on Druid as a wolf. And you looks like you have life leech as well on top of that. So again, see where this is going, where we get a new class is like, oh well, these other classes here, let's give them the same abilities and then some, and make it even better, so that everybody's going to want to play this instead, you know, right? And then here we are. And then afterwards the fallout happens for all the other classes as a result, you know, because then if you don't play Druid, you have to figure out all the counters and see that, oh, they get six things on one essence compared to the other older classes essences of which had like one thing on them. Yeah, this is a continual progressive problem that has been in the game for a while, and I don't understand how the devs just aren't privy to their own stuff as much as they should be or could be. Oh boy. Anyway, Claw Strike, Bear transformation, back to Bear. Now it makes your charge forward using a second movement that increases your critical hit chance against enemies with low health. So they're already low in health and you get a crit hit chance increased. Interesting. Okay. Wolf transformation. Hey, only the second wolf so far. Transforms into a wolf in flames. This one sounds fun when I saw this the first time. Continuously dealing damage to nearby enemies and causing a fire explosion on common critical hits. Very, very nice. Bunch of burst explosions, kind of like the Igneous Scorn gem, except in wolf form for Druid. So that's pretty much what that boils down to, except for the continuous damage, of course, and that is, again, kind of like the Barb as well, with some of their continuous damage abilities that they can just have by walking around. All right, further on down we go. Claw Strike turns your common attacks into dashes and bleeds for seconds. If the target bleeds, a blood explosion will be activated. That almost sounds like Blood Knight-esque. Bleeds and explosion. Claw Strike again. Launches a claw spell that deals damage to enemies in front of you. When the claw reaches the maximum distance, it returns. Okay, these are spells now. Attracting enemies in its path towards you and slowing them down. So, okay, so it's a claw strike, almost like lashed, and it's got a pull on the pullback on the return. Yeah, that's exact. Okay, I get that one. Armor of Thorns. Here we go. That's the old classic. Creates a field of thorns that continuously damages enemies within range and inflicts Deadwood Seeds. Now that's an odd translation there. We'll have to wait and see what that will lead into. That's something different. I wonder if that's a different dot of lasting effect here, or something that's just named something different for Druid. Crack Strike now causes disturbances in the rocks in a specific location, continuously damaging and petrifying enemies within range. Chip of the Stone Flesh in a sense here. Okay, or Stone Curse, whatever you want to call it. Same kind of deal applies. Same thing like with the Fear Necros. Now, Druid gets something of that nature. When an allied summon enters the rock field, it gains a crystalline shell, reduces damage taken, and is immune to control and knockback effects. When an allied summon. There's summons here for Druid now, too. Again, hybrid Barbarian Necro is probably what Druid will be. Crack Strike makes you move for a certain period of time, and they're actually a caster. It sounds like in this with these instances so far, is the feeling that I'm getting here too. So, which causes earthquakes that damage an area around you. Okay, makes you move for a certain period of time, which causes earthquakes that damage an area around. Oh man, okay. Armor of Thorns. Okay, so wait a minute. We got Armor of Thorns twice. Oh, okay, so there's different essences to both of these. All right. now consumes natural energy. Again, this is probably what Druid's going to get that no other class has, is natural energy when activated, causing all nearby allied units to be surrounded by thorns. Okay. Just like Necro or even Wizard, the ability to cast a ice armor or bone armor, and it can spread to other players, reducing damage taken and continuously dealing damage to nearby. Oh, the dealing damage thorn armor, yeah, of course. All right, so there's that. Now here we go. We're at the bottom of the list now. If you've hung in, appreciate you. We're getting into the healing, the Resto Druid build here. Life Field now grants the Seed of Life to nearby enemies, which continuously restores life and restores a large amount of life when health is low. So I wonder if it has like which continuously restores life and restores a large amount of life when the health is low. So if they're already low, they might get initial burst tick on that first heal, and then a continual small heal after that. Life Field restores life instantly, damaging and stunning nearby enemies. That's pretty massive right there. It activates automatically when health is low. Oh man. So they get I don't want to say a get out of jail free card on that one, but if their life is low and they have the field up, it does a burst, heal, and a stun. Okay, yeah, oh man, this is going to be nasty in Battlegrounds, of course. This is going to be really, really hard to stop any form of pushing, it would seem, on the defensive end at this point. And also on Convoy. Oh, don't even get me. It's going to be, yeah. All right. Let's see. Realm of Life becomes a channeling ability that focuses your vital energy into your life and energy. Okay, so there's life and energy. Again, energy pool for Druid, and no other class is probably going to have it. While you channel, immobilizing and damaging taken. Immobilization and damage taken are reduced when channeling. Reduced, but not completely cut off, but yeah, definitely reduced. Oh boy. Alright. Horned Deer now jumps to a target location and regenerates natural energy based on the number of targets reached. Okay. Raven. Okay, these are more skill. Horned Deer and the Raven, so those are summon attacks and abilities. Raven Escape now makes you unreachable. Oh man. Unreachable. So untargetable. Makes you untargetable and throws you forward. Oh no, there it is. And untargetable again. Making you untargetable and dealing damage to enemies in your path. If the skill does not reach an enemy, a reuse time is reset. Wow, so if you don't hit anything, if you don't hit an enemy with it, you can do it again. Basically is what that's saying. Okay. And Companion Wolves, of which we had in the old Diablo. Ye old Diablo games. The Companion Wolf grants your next common attack a running wolf charge. Okay, so kind of like the satyr one in the game with the horses. Well, there we go. I gave my thoughts and opinions as we went along in this. Of course, I can see where a lot of things are going to be abused greatly. It's going to be very, very nasty to deal with in PvP. There's going to be a lot of whales, of course, jumping ship to this. However, you still have to have the other classes to benefit from this class. But especially if you run the Resto Druid support, it's going to be insane. And then the other builds for the bear especially is basically going to be a hybrid of both Barbarian and the Necro Golems. The wolf one, of course, also, there's only a few that they listed. Hopefully there's more. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see once these essences are released in the game with the class itself and then go from there. Of course. But as always, when it comes to these things, this is all the speculation. The leaks abound everywhere. And like I said, I really kind of hate this kind of thing, but this is, again, the nature of the beast, the nature of the internet, nature of YouTube, nature of all the things, and it's just part of building up the hype And in some cases, in a lot of games, the hype is built up too much, and then when things do get finally released in their original, official format, sometimes people can be the hype was built up a little too much, and then they get disappointed. So that happens more often than not in games today, especially too. But we'll just have to wait and see on this one. But I just wanted to at least put this one out here, give my thoughts on all of this as it stands right now. Again, for sure, from the sounds of it, we are getting Resto Druids in the realm of Diablo. So Resto Druid mains from World of Warcraft. Here you go. Here's your class. There's the hype built around that. That might pull in a lot of other players now, because I know for a while there have been people that have been wanting to play like a healing class in this game for whatever reason. It's not, I mean, it is kind of an MMO. It is now more leaning much further into that now with the addition of the Resto Druid here. But we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, let me know what you think about all things discussed here, my take on everything, as I've said, of course, and what you may think of all of this so far. And I feel like I'm pretty spot on with how the devs are going to just make it that much harder to balance things for the rest of the classes now around this whenever they go and release a new class. But time will tell. But anyway, until next time, everybody, stay safe out there in the real world, and far as always, take care of yourselves as best you can, one day at a time. It's all we can do. Until next time, see ya.